Okay, so you're out with your mates having a ride, and, great day, and you come around the corner and your mate looks like this. Or this. Hi, my name's Greg Villalobos, and today I'm going to show you my EDC Everyday Carry First Aid Kit. Quick note before we start, this is EDC First Aid. There's also an EDC toolkit film, so if you're interested in what tools I carry, go check that film out. Okay, so I recently did the OGA course. OGA stands for the Overland Guide Association, and that's an organization that's been put together, I think it's fair to say, very simply, to improve safety on the trails. And it was put together to help overland guides, so people that are taking trail ride tours out, to equip them with the skills that they need to keep their clients safe. But it's not just for guides. I am not a guide, and I've been on the course, and I realized, kind of after having been a trail rider, adventure rider for over 10 years, how lucky I've been to never actually have to put any first aid skills to use. But having been on the course, I came away with a lot more skills and knowledge that I know will keep me and the people I ride with safer on the trails. What I would say is that this film is not about teaching you first aid. Feel free to go and contact the OGA or organizations in your country if that's something you're interested in. But what I do want to share with you is some of the equipment that I now carry with me as a result of being on that course. My aim is to never ever have to use it, but at least I know it's there if I do. I remember being on the second part of the course. The first part's quite classroom based. The second part's very practical, where you kind of got sent out to encounter staged first aid scenarios. And I remember walking around the corner, I think it was with Jeff, I was paired up. There was a casualty on the floor, blood spurting everywhere, been hit by a van, the van was still running, and JP, who's one of the course organizers, was kind of running around in a flap, like pretending to be the van driver. Oh, I've hit him, I think I've killed him. It made us realize quite quickly actually how much impact you can have with just a little bit of knowledge. Also, like staying calm, you know. I think you've got a newfound appreciation for people who do this as a living. If you're a paramedic or emergency first responder, it's like, it's intense, you know. So I'm going to kind of unpack some of the kit that I carry with me and tell you what it does and why it's there. If you do this, you are one of those first responders and you think that there's stuff missing from this kit, please do. For me and for everyone else watching this film, do leave a comment and maybe collectively we can share this knowledge. Okay, so I split my kit down across kind of 3 different items. Ideally, these would all live together in my rucksack. And if I was like the main kind of first aid rider in the group, I probably would keep these all on me. But I'm not. I also carry all my camera gear. My job is that I'm the media guy, so my rucksack's full of camera gear. So I actually split this out. So this one and this one, they live in my panniers on my bike, and this one lives in my bag on my rucksack. This is kind of the right, get to a casualty, need to do something very, very fast. Keep all the stuff that is kind of immediate response in there. And this stuff is stuff that, you know, you can go back to the bike and deal with a bit later. So I'm going to unpack this and talk you through what's here. So the first and easiest thing here is this is a shelter. So it's just like a big orange plastic bag. It's not really much more complicated than that. It's a human-sized plastic bag. And really this is about how to keep someone warm and dry in a very, very basic way. A little anecdote. So at the moment it is January here in England. And just before Christmas, I was on Facebook. There was someone put a post out saying that their dad hadn't come home. Maybe has anyone heard anything? And no one had. And the next day the group went out. And this is like 30th of December. It was cold. One of the guys that was riding was actually OGA trained, and he'd been on the OGA course, and he said that he came round on a trail and he saw a bike and a hedge, and then there was a guy immobile next to it, and fortunately the guy was alive, but he'd been out on his own all night. He'd had an accident towards the end of the previous day, and he'd injured himself, and he was not mobile, and he wasn't able to self evacuate. and he spent the whole night out on his own. I don't know any more details, but you know, in that situation, you know, being able to get into something like this would have been something that you would have very, very much appreciated. Super handy for putting someone in, a casualty in. Also super handy for being able to kind of transport someone. You can turn it into a seat, you can turn it into a sled, you can drag people out on it. Doesn't take up much room, so that lives in my bag. Okay, so this is everything that's in my pannier, and I'm just going to talk through it. Before I start, the aim of the OGA course that I did is stabilize the casualty until the big boys arrive. The point is that if you're out trail riding, you're quite remote, that might take longer to happen than if you were in the middle of a city and an ambulance can get to you straight away. So if you go out on tours that take you out into more remote areas where you're in less developed countries and help isn't going to come, there's a whole different level of training and a whole different level of equipment, you know, to do essentially minor surgeries out on the trail. That's not me. That's beyond my pay grade. I don't trail ride in those regions without external assistance with me anyway. So this is kind of if you're in Northern Europe and you just need to keep someone safe until help can get to you. Interestingly, out of all the stuff here and in here, what I thought and what I found from being on the course that one of the most important items here was actually these rubber latex gloves. And one of the reasons why I thought that that was so important is you put the gloves on before you go to the casualty to touch them and, you know, prod them and get covered in whatever it is that they're covered in. The act of putting the gloves on slows you down. Take a beat. It was really, really important to focus, you know. There's a limit to how much like I can help. So in here, we've got a few pairs of latex gloves, we've got a bit of tape, and we've got what is officially called a conforming bandage, which is basically just a roll of gauze wrapped up. And that can be unwrapped. So if I've got a cut or a gash, I can basically use that to wrap around, pack, put pressure on. It's also really handy in the course. I remember being, you know, told that, say for example, if someone's got a fracture and a bone sticking out or something like that, and you know, you're not going to go pushing that back in. You can take two of these and put them on either side and wrap them around. It's quite versatile. You don't actually have to open them.
Using a few bandages as a sort of direct, indirect pressure. So if there's an object sticking out or even a wound. So if there is an object sticking out, get down to skin. Don't pull the object out like I just did. One there. One there, same there, and then gaff tape round. Make sense?
Over here, we've got a foil blanket. I can kind of like put that with that there, really. The idea there is very small, and it's designed to kind of keep the heat in, reflect the heat in, and that's just something to keep someone warm when you're out on the trail and it's blowing a gale. You try and get some shelter, put that around them. It's the same kind of thing that you see like marathon runners using at the end of a marathon. Over here, we've got some eye drops. I guess this is in the pack just because we ride in dusty areas, and it's kind of quite a common thing, especially if you're out kind of leading a group and it's in summer. You might have someone just get some stuff in their eye. This is, you know, it's not necessarily life-saving, but it's just a small item that can clear up quite a common issue that happens a lot.
Oh, hang on. Turn your head to the left. That's it, and then drop them in so it runs out of your eye. That's it. Now turn your head. Lovely.
Here we've got what is called an Israeli bandage. I recently had someone, because of political situations, saying that actually they take this out of the wrapping when they're traveling around to various parts of the world where having something called an Israeli bandage is not that helpful. But essentially it's an emergency bandage. It's in an airtight kind of sealed container, so it's kind of clean, and that can be used to create slings, and it's got a hook on the end, so it's really handy. So if you need to be able to pull something tight, you know, get something pulled against the body or stop bleeding in conjunction with some other bandaging, it's super handy. it's that kind of that being able to lever off that hook at the end manages to get you really, really tight. Over here, this is what is called a boo-boo kit. And this is what gets used the most. So in here, we've got painkillers, antihistamines, kind of bandages, maybe some blister packs, and some wound cleaning wipes, so sterile wipes. So this is the kind of stuff that you have at home in the cupboard to deal with like everyday stuff. So this is my notebook, and this has got all like the notes that I took while I was on the course. Super handy. One of the things that we were taught is like, as you're putting your gloves on, if you need to get your notebook out and remind yourself, that's absolutely fine. There's an acronym here. It's an addition from the Dr. ABC that's quite well known. This is Dr. C, A, B, C, D, E.
At the OGA, we use the DRC ABCDE protocol, and it's repeatable and it checks for the most life-critical injuries first. So we start off with D, which is danger. We don't want to put ourselves in danger. Is the scene safe? Then we move on to R, which is response, and you're checking for the casualty's response. Are they alert or are they unconscious? Then we move to C, which is catastrophic bleed, because if you don't stop a catastrophic bleed, you can't move on. Then we've got A, is the airway clear and quiet? And then B for breathing. We're going to look, listen and feel and check to see if they are breathing. Then we're going to check their circulation. What colour are they? Have they got blood running around their body? Then we move to D for disability, and that's neurological. Then we move to E, which is expose, environment and everything else. You've got to consider evacuation. Once we've done that, we go right the way back to the beginning and check D again.
Okay, so this is everything that I keep on me, on my person. In many ways, you could say this is kind of the, right, need to deal with this quickly side of the kit. So you might be quite familiar with this. This is a tourniquet. All right, Kelvin, so tourniquets, whenever I talk about this to people, some people say, oh, I was always told not to use a tourniquet. You know, what's the position on that?
So, yeah, old school used to be that people would think, put a tourniquet on and they're going to lose that limb. But that's not the case. If used correctively and effectively, and the OGA can teach you how, this is going to stop a catastrophic bleed and save somebody's life. And that's the difference.
Worth having,
Yeah, but we can show you how to use it.
I guess the point I want to make out is there's some kind of cheaper alternatives that we were explicitly kind of steered away from that can snap, which is quite catastrophic. So it's worth getting a proper one. So that's about £30 here in the UK for one of those. So here we've got, again, more rubber gloves. Can never have too many rubber gloves. So inside here we've got hemostatic gauze. So this is essentially it's very similar to the gauze that we had over there that was like a wound up ball, but these are flat and they've got a hemostatic agent on it, which is like a blood clotting agent. You take this out and it's probably, I'm not sure how many meters, there might be like 10 meters or something in there, but you can open it up and pack it in, and the hemostatic gauze is going to help the blood clot. I really hope I never have to use that. I don't use any of this stuff. This is the kind of really serious stuff. You want a paracetamol, I can help with that. But I do have it, and if I did ever need to use it, it is with me at all times. So yeah, this is, again, something else that I would really rather not have to use. This is a dressing for chest wounds, and one of these allows it to breathe. So let's say you came across someone with a puncture hole, might not be bleeding much, but they're really struggling to catch their breath.
And this is going to seal the wound, but not completely. The vent allows some air still to escape, but not to get in.
And if it was not vented, what might it turn into?
It might turn into a more serious injury. Some people might have heard of a tension pneumothorax, and that's a big, big problem.
Sounds like something I don't want.
No, it's not something either of us want.
Okay.
So carry one of these. And the OGA can show you how to use one of these and when to apply it.
Great. And then lastly, doesn't have to be fancy ones like this. These are the Leatherman ones, but yeah, a pair of shears, which is super handy at just being able to cut kit off in order to access the casualty and, you know, see what's going on. So we all get really excited by the kit, but it's the knowledge that's the important bit. The less I use this, because I don't encounter a casualty, the better. However, that's also the less I practice. So getting on refreshers at the OGA or whatever your kind of first aid course is definitely advisable. I did my course last year. I'll be doing another refresher this year. And if you are out riding with me, you can ride safe in the knowledge that if you do end up as a casualty in front of me, I should have most of what I need to keep you right.